So with Invincible
Could the Avengers defeat Conquest? I feel like they got Thor and Hulk. They should.
season 3 coming to an end, we
They
had
ain't
one of
like the
best
Viltrumites don't got that crazy feats. Like they didn't outright destroy no planet or nothing. They just kind of ended the civilization, I guess.
episodes in the show's history with the battle between Mark and Conquest. It almost goes without saying that Conquest is one of the coolest and most interesting characters in all of Invincible and is now a fan favorite, despite literally only being featured in a single episode. Conquest is probably one of the most hyped up characters in the entirety of Invincible when it comes to his scaling, and it's quite literally a miracle that Mark and Eve were able to defeat him.
These guys so lucky.
But what if Mark wasn't there to stop Conquest from conquering the Earth? What if a very different set of superheroes...
Wait, what Avengers we talking about? Because this is overkill. Give me the original ones, right?
Were the only line of defense against the Viltrumite Empire.
Even Scarlet Witch. Adding Scarlet Witch is kind of overkill.
What if the Avengers had to stop Conquest?
Roster.
Would they fail like they did against Thanos? Or is there a reason why they're the Earth's mightiest heroes? Let's find out. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure to like, subscribe, and let's jump right in. Now, it's important to establish what I mean by the Avengers, so we are all on the same. Now, it's important to establish what I mean.
They just got Black Panther here. Thought you got the job to do, nigga. Who is this? Is that the Wasp?
By the Avengers, so we are all on the same page. I think we can all pretty much agree that as strong as Conquest is, he does not compare to the comic versions of these characters. Pretty much any relevant fighter would probably one-shot Conquest, as well as any other character in Invincible. Instead, I think the best version to use would be the live-action version of the characters, from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Even then, there are multiple different lineups to use from the first Avengers, Age of Ultron, and Infinity War and Endgame, with each of these versions being stronger than the last. So for this video, to keep things interesting, we'll be putting Conquest progressively up against each lineup of Avengers to see if he can win no matter what, or if only certain versions of the team are enough to put him down. As we're going to be running the gauntlet on Marvel's strongest superheroes, let's start with the scaling of Conquest. From his appearance in Season 3 of Invincible, Conquest scaling hasn't changed all that much from the original comic. For most of the comic, and seemingly the show as well, Conquest is pretty consistently the second strongest Viltrumite around, only surpassed by Thrag in power. Not only does the show have repeated statements that he's stronger than Omni-Man, but his official character theme is literally the second strongest Viltrumite. While statements aren't always valid on their own, his feats speak for themselves. We see that in pretty much every...
Yeah, they say he's stronger than Omni-Man, so... Where does that put Invincible? Because Invincible didn't straight up beat that nigga. And I don't even know, even like to the point when he beat him, like think of it like a Luffy versus Kaido type of thing. Like when Luffy beat Kaido, he was stronger than Kaido. But I don't even think Invincible can run it back like the next day against bruh. I think he still lose. Like I think he really just got lucky. I mean it was a 2v1, nigga. Adam Eve did the took the most damage out of him. So yeah. But like if they just say he's stronger than Omni-Man, and then Mark had to do all this work, I'm feeling like Mark right now, that put him like in the realm of Omni-Man. Probably, like if I just had to guess, probably a little under. Cause our sleep got spoiled, and we know he comes back. And of course, Mark, spoiler alert. We know that Conquest comes back, and of course Mark has to kill that nigga again. And that nigga struggled again. Like he won, but like it still was like this. So yeah, after all that time, I'm just saying I feel like he's in the realm of Omni-Man right now.
Every fight, Conquest is physically stronger than his opponent. Both times when fighting Mark, Conquest's physical attacks can easily tear through his body. And his brief interaction with Omni-Man, he easily blitzes him, grabs his face, and breaks his nose with a casual headbutt. In the show, Conquest further implies that he's stronger than every other Viltrumite when he says that every single Viltrumite fears him.
I am so lonely. All the other Viltrumites are scared of me.
Given that the whole society of Viltrumites is mostly based around strength, I can't think of another reason as to why the Viltrumites would fear him other than the fact that he's stronger than them. This raises the question of how Mark, a guy who Conquest thinks is weaker than Omni-Man, could even beat him in the first place. Thankfully, we are given a pretty clear explanation. Omni-Man pretty simply outlines why Mark was even able to beat Conquest both times, and it's because Conquest is essentially like Goku, in the way that he can sometimes hold back just to make fights more fun and interesting to his own detriment, with even Conquest admitting he underestimated Invincible in their first fight. The other main factor that led to his loss is that unlike Mark, he can't get a boost in strength from adrenaline or anger. Conquest thinks such a thing is literally impossible, but both times it's these factors of the unwavering human spirit that ultimately allowed Mark to beat him. Even then, what ultimately kills Conquest is being choked out, not outright being overpowered. Ultimately, I mention all of this to say that any feats another Viltrumite does, Conquest can do probably even better. At a bare minimum, he should be moon level, as he would be superior to Omni-Man's capability to move a Texas-sized meteor away from Earth.
You've seen the asteroid I diverted a few years ago, the size of Texas,
and resist a black hole from close distance, which make Nolan being that strong oddly consistent. For the show, this is where Conquest scaling reasonably ends, because as of now, we haven't seen anyone conduct a better attack potency feat. We also can't just say Conquest is in a higher tier of strength just because he's stronger. He would not be in planetary, but just a higher level of moon level. Meanwhile, the comic Conquest can be scaled in all sorts of higher ways. For example, Conquest was able to one-shot the Coalition of Planets ship that conducted the now infamous solar disk busting feat that varies anywhere from literally multi-continental all the way to star level, depending on the size and makeup of the planet it was blocking. I'm sure you're sick of hearing about Viltrum blowing up, so I won't talk about that feat either today, but just know Conquest could do that. One thing that does line up consistently between both shows is that Viltrumites are fast. Really fast, though I'd be lying if I said their speed doesn't feel like it's inconsistent at times. Either way, though, Viltrumites, Conquest included, have flown across solar systems.
Their speed is extremely inconsistent, because how the fuck do Mark be getting touched by any of these niggas? But that is Mark pussy. he just let niggas beat him around. None of these niggas other than the alternate Marks and Viltrumites should be even touching that nigga. Like, he's way too fast. That nigga, then he lapped the whole Earth.
In between galaxies in short periods of time, even though they might not use their full speed all the time when fighting on the surface of planets. Still, I don't think it's unreasonable to say that as the second strongest, Conquest is probably also the second fastest Viltrumite, and is thus massively faster than light in speed. Besides that, all Conquest really does is punch and kick, but is this enough for the Avengers to handle? Let's get into it. The first lineup of Avengers is obviously the one from the first Avengers, and is made up of Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Hawkeye, and Black Widow. Obviously, we can pretty much instantly rule out everyone but Hulk and Thor, as these two are clearly on a tier of their own in this movie. Even when compared to the guy who's clearly 3 on the team, Iron Man, a single blast of electricity is several multipliers beyond Iron Man's max capacity. We don't actually need to scale the feats of Thor or Hulk in this movie, because we know pretty explicitly they are not planet level yet, as in this very movie, the Tesseract is repeatedly hyped up to be a planet-busting item, and everyone clearly scales substantially below it. Based on actual feats, they're likely around country level in this movie, which is losing to even a single normal Viltrumite warrior, let alone Conquest.
Really, like, Hulk always have the potential of, like, just like damn near infinite, but like Thor should not be that weak, bro. like in the comics, that nigga, the God of Thunder, that nigga has godly power. That nigga is too weak in the movies. Even once he gets stronger, he don't do nothing too crazy.
Age of Ultron doesn't change all that much, as all the films in the interim do very little to demonstrate new feats of power for each of the members of the Avengers. What it does do is include several new members to the roster, notably Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and Vision. Once again though, like the previous movie, the main threat in this film, Ultron acts as a hard cap to the level of power of everybody else, as no one is capable of soloing him. Ultron's whole plan is dropping Sokovia on Earth, which is done to cause a ice age and wipe out all humans on the planet, a feat calculated to be multi-continental in power. Once again, if Ultron himself was this strong, you'd think he'd just do it himself. So once again, every Avenger comes out to the low multi-continental level, which again is essentially the baseline of a random Viltrumite. So once again, Conquest solos with ease. Now, once you reach Infinity War and Endgame, the Avengers are almost infinitely stronger than they were before, even if the team is technically disbanded until the battle with Thanos. Pretty much every character is stronger than before, especially Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, and Thor, while also many characters get added to the team like Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and down the line, Captain Marvel. So,
okay.
How does Conquest do? With his main objective being Earth, he'd likely not even bother taking a pit stop to fight the Guardians of the Galaxy or Thor like Thanos does. Still, we'll just assume he does just to look for some strong opponents. Regardless, the top tier Avengers at this point should all be pushing into that range of potentially planet level in attack potency, as all of them are capable of tanking or canceling out blasts from the Power Stone, an item that when used by Ronan is outright shown and stated to be a planet busting item. In Infinity
That is
War,
crazy.
this would apply to
Okay,
Doctor Strange,
nigga, that's
Iron Man,
not
Thor,
consistent. Cause how the fuck Iron Man like match this shit?
and
That is not
medieval,
consistent.
given that he's as strong as base Thanos in raw power. Everyone else, while they might be able to kind of stagger Thanos a little bit or take a single hit from him, they simply don't have the concrete proof that they're in that tier. And so, once again, just like Thanos, Conquest should be in for a pretty easy fight. While at this point their attack potency is potentially similar, Conquest still solidly has a speed advantage. His biggest issue might be Doctor Strange, but just like with Thanos, he is going to be able to tear, rip, or just dodge through anything thrown at him. Thor and Hulk might barely have a shot at winning if Conquest substantially underestimates them like he did against Mark and allows them to just barely squeeze out a win, but I just don't see that happening. So let's move on to Endgame. Not only are all of the Avengers assembled now, but they have their members stronger than ever. And again, Conquest is all alone in this scenario with no army to help him. So how does this fight go? Well, just like with his fight against Mark, Conquest by flying around is destroying most of the army. However, there is one single character who confidently defeats Conquest, and that's Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is like a Viltrumite on steroids. She can do pretty much all the same things as one, but can also shoot energy blasts. I know no one saw this movie, but in Captain Marvel 2, she's able to fly through and reignite a star, something that's unsurprisingly at the bare minimum star level. How do Viltrumites even stronger than Conquest do in a star? Yeah, not so great. Furthermore, she similarly has speed feats of crossing entire portions of the universe in incredibly short amounts of time.
I watched the movie when it came out, but I forgot. I don't think I've seen any other character even do some shit that cracks up to that. What the Scarlet Witch got the mystical shit, maybe. Thor ain't did shit, bro. Thor still don't got no crazy feats. Like he got some decent, but like. Still not no planet shit. She just, bro, that maybe like Celestials is above her. Not even the what's that movie? The movie with the Celestials, I forgot. Them niggas wasn't even that strong to like fuck up no planet for real. I ain't gonna lie, she probably solos the rest of the verse.
Conquest wouldn't be able to answer like he probably
close
can with everybody else. So, just like Thanos, this gauntlet-wielding alien would finally meet his defeat in Avengers Endgame, unless he picks up a few stones for himself.
He not doing that shit.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. As always, thank you to my channel members who got to see this video early.
Bringing Captain Marvel into it just shits on everybody.
Okay, also, I promise this is the last video about Invincible until Season 4 comes out next year.
Alright, whatever. W video.